Before I begin, Madam Speaker, I would like to acknowledge that Canada's Parliament is located on the ancestral and unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. Madam Speaker, our collective journey on the path of reconciliation, healing, and understanding is not merely a path we choose to walk. It is an essential step towards a better future and an acknowledgement of past wrongs. This is about acknowledging that while we cannot change the past, we have the power and indeed the responsibility to shape a better future. That is exactly what Bill C-29, the piece of legislation we are debating today, is all about. Simply put, it would establish a National Council for Reconciliation. In 2015, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, which was chaired by the Honourable Murray Sinclair, investigated the history and legacy of residential schools and released its final report. It came after 6 years of hearings and testimonies from more than 6,000 residential school survivors and their loved ones. The report included 94 calls to action to address the legacy of residential schools and achieve true reconciliation based on the experience and recommendations of survivors. Our government is committed to implementing each and every one of these calls to action. The legislation responds to call to actions number 53 to 56. The final report of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission concluded that, quote, all levels of government must make a new commitment to reconciliation and accountability, end quote. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission further noted that Indigenous peoples and Canadians will benefit from the establishment of an oversight body to evaluate and report on progress made toward fulfilling commitments and to ensure that the necessary educational resources to advance reconciliation are available to Canadians. On this journey, it is crucial that we listen, truly listen, to the stories of those who have been affected by our history. These stories, though often fraught with pain and injustice, are vital to understanding the depth of hurt that has been caused. They remind us that behind every call to action, there are human faces and stories that deserve to be heard and acknowledged. To that end, this bill was brought forward after extensive engagement with Indigenous peoples and organizations. Our government, as well as parliamentarians in both chambers, have worked tirelessly to ensure that the bill before us today is at the heart of what Indigenous people have been asking for in this country. And parliamentarians have made important amendments, of which the government accepts all of them. Madam Speaker, walking the path of reconciliation requires consistent action and a desire to forge a new relationship based on mutual respect, trust, and nation-to-nation recognition to which Indigenous peoples are entitled. This work is vital, complex, and long-term. That is why it is crucial that we have systems to measure the progress we are making as a country as we work towards reconciliation, and that we hold the government accountable to its objectives. The Council would do just that. Reconciliation requires more than just words. It demands action. It challenges us to move beyond mere acknowledgement of past injustices to the implementation of concrete steps that address these wrongs. While the Leader of the Opposition offers platitudes on the necessity of reconciliation, there remains a stark contrast between his rhetoric and the actions, or lack thereof, taken by his party. Madam Speaker, that is why the National Council for Reconciliation is so important. It would be an independent, permanent body that would oversee the progress of reconciliation efforts in Canada. It aims to promote respect, dialogue, and understanding between Canadian and Indigenous peoples. The Council would provide oversight and hold the government accountable for advancing reconciliation with Indigenous communities, including monitoring and evaluating the implementation of the Truth and Reconciliation's calls to action. We know progress has been made, but I hope that everyone in this place would agree that there is more to do. As amended, this bill strengthens the accountability of governments to respond to Council concerns in terms of measuring progress. The establishment of such a council reflects a commitment to creating mechanisms for ongoing dialogue, respect for Indigenous rights, and concerted effort to address historical injustices and the legacy of colonialism. It signifies a step forward in the journey toward reconciliation, aiming to ensure that the actions and policies of the future are informed by a comprehensive understanding of the past and present realities faced by Indigenous peoples in Canada. I encourage my colleagues to support the bill as amended, as it represents a critical step towards bridging the gap between words and action. Miigwech, kuya namik, merci, thank you, merci.